This episode is brought to you by Manscaped.com, the global brand for men's grooming and hygiene products. Manscaped just hooked me up with a bunch of stuff. The Perfect Package 4.0. It's a trimmer. It's waterproof. You get 90 minutes once you put it on the charger. Turn it on. Plus, you get free boxer, free bag, and you get the t-shirt that I got on right now. Plus, you get the liquids, keep you fresh to death. All you gotta do is go to manscaped.com, use the promo code can't wait 20. You get 20% off plus free shipping plus 2 free gifts at manscaped.com. Plus, you get a newspaper. We save balls. So all you gotta do to get 20% off is go to manscaped.com plus free shipping plus 2 free gifts and use the promo code can't wait 20. Welcome to another episode coming at you from chooseyourrelationships.com, author of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on amazon.com. Today I have a special guest. He's a psychic medium, tarot reader, soul healer, host of Martine's Musing podcast, where she discusses spiritual and personal development topics that encourage people to be their best version of themselves. She recently published a new book called You Love, You Learn, where she highlights her self-love journey through various relationships with narcissists. Our special guest today is Martine Felton. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, so where you from originally?
Originally born and bred in New York. I'm a New Yorker.
Okay. So, how did you get started? Because I know I guess you didn't go to school and say, hey, one day when I wake up, I want to, I want to be a psychic. I know. So how do you become a psychic, or how do you even know that you even uh have this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I didn't know for a very long time. But it I started I started writing when I was younger in my teenage years. I started with journaling.
Hmm.
I'm very big on journaling. So, and that's how I started. That's how I was able to write my book, because most of my book is taken from my old journals, because through my
Mm.
relationships, I journaled what was happening. But anyway, I started writing as at a young in my teenage years, writing poetry, short stories, and journaling. And so it's always been a love of mine to write and to be creative. And I didn't know that I had psychic abilities until maybe about four years ago. And but I knew in retrospect now, I it was always there.
Mm.
I just didn't know what it was, and it was just normal to me. I didn't think that it would become like a thing for me, or my part of my livelihood, because I always used to be able to read people and kind of like feel people's vibes
Mm.
and know things about people without them having to tell me. And it was, I just used to brush it off as a coincidence, or whatever the case may be. I just never really thought that it would be what I'm supposed to be doing here, why I'm here, you know. So about 4 years ago, I had lost my job. I've always worked in corporate. I work in publishing. I'm professionally a book editor,
Oh, okay.
and I lost my job. And So it really sent me into a place of kind of self discovery and trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, because I know that obviously I need money, I have financial responsibilities, I have a family, but um, there was something nudging me to do more than just the job and to start a blog. I started a blog, I started a podcast, and I felt like I was being led to start this podcast, but I really didn't know. I was kind of feeling my way through as far as what the premise of the podcast would be. And so I just decided that I was just going to document my spiritual journey and help people with their spiritual journeys at the same time, and just talk about random personal development, spiritual development things. And that's how it came about as far as my podcast. Um, with me, for a long time, I was always the one going to mediums for readings. Like that was normal to me and my
Mm.
family, me and my mom. My mom always has abilities as well. So we would always talk about our dreams because my dreams were very prophetic. Um, the things that I would dream would actually happen. And so that was normal to me as well. I still, when those things are happening, didn't even think that, I had any abilities at all. So I was always the one going to get readings. I never thought that I would be sitting on the other side of the table. And so I went for a reading, and that medium told me, "You're going to be doing what I'm doing now." And I was like, "No, no." I was like, "You crazy. Because I was so focused on corporate, on, climbing the corporate ladder and working, because me and my husband had goals of buying a home and, all of the material things that you want,
Yeah.
as adults. So I was like, no, I can't. No, I can't do that. I need a job. I can't do that because spiritual work is not always. Um, it's not always that people. I don't want to say that it's not profitable because it can be, but people don't think that when you're first doing it, you have a hard time charging people, because people will be like, well, if you're supposed to be a healer or a spiritual worker, why should you charge people? You shouldn't be charging and stuff like that. So a lot of times people who do this type of work have a hard time charging people or charging their worth, charging for their gifts. So I
Mm.
just was like, there's no way I would be able to make a living doing this. But yeah, so the medium, he was like, yes, you're going to be doing what I'm doing. And so then after that reading, I took some time and then I went back to him and, for a follow up. And I was like, well, how do I get started? Because you're right. I do feel like I've had some gifts all my life, but I never knew what it was.
Mm.
So he told me to start off by buying a tarot a deck of tarot cards. And so I taught myself the tarot, from online, and I studied that for about a year, 18 months. And then I started doing readings on my family and my friends. And, then it evolved in me doing readings for people and doing them on YouTube. And yeah, so that's how that evolved. And, you know, there's a lot of other things that come along with being a psychic medium as well. So, I got really into protecting my energy and just developing my mediumship. And I'm still developing. It's always, when you're a medium, you're always developing. There's never like an end goal. There's never like an end to it. There's always more to develop.
Mm. So, hey, what is a psychic medium? What is that? How do you
Well,
explain it?
a psychic medium is someone who is connected to spirit. Spirit being their spirit guides or their angels. You can connect to your own spirit guides or angels, or you can connect to the spirit guides and angels of the person that you're doing the reading for. And you're just an intermediary between the physical and the spirit realm, a medium.
Okay.
And yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So that's where the word medium comes in. You communicate with spirit and you bring people messages from spirit. Like for instance, if it is if I'm um I don't do straight mediumship readings. Like I my tool of choice right now is cards. So the messages come through me through the cards. Now, for another medium who doesn't use cards, um, they can bring, connect with your passed on loved ones. If you have a mom or a dad or a grandma or uncle, auntie in spirit, connecting with who wants to come forward with for you and communicate with you and bring you messages. Now, all the the psychic part is because there's a difference between a psychic and a medium. Like all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums.
Mm,
If that makes any sense.
yeah. So what's the difference between so what's a healer?
Well, I do energy healing also as well. That's another thing that I offer is energy healing, a Reiki energy healing, and that is channeling energy, universal energy, and I channel it through my body, and it comes through my hands, and it helps to heal people of stress, anxiety. If you have like some pain in your body that you want to work through, the energy healing can help manage that or help to, if you get energy healings consistently. I know that personally, I did a couple of healings on my husband. He had a hurt shoulder,
Hmm.
and it kind of the pain now has subsided. So it and Reiki energy healing can help you with anything that you want to heal. The healer just has to set the intention, and and the energy comes through my hands and into that person's body and can heal what they want to heal. And it goes, Reiki energy is like, it knows where it needs to go. It's
Hmm.
like a self healing. I'm not healing. The energy is not coming from me. I'm just channeling it. It's just coming through my body. So the energy knows where it needs to go. So if I can send you Reiki from a distance, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because right now I'm doing when I do what I do with my clients is it's really distant Reiki sessions over Zoom, and the energy, I can send energy to people. I know it sounds woo woo to some people, but
Yeah, to some people, yeah. Not to me.
but it's real.
Yeah, let me tell you why. It's not like crazy to me because my mom took me to a healer like 40 years ago because
Oh, okay.
I was poisoned, right? This
Oh my
lady
goodness.
yeah, this lady tried to kill my mom basically.
Mm,
She put rat poison in a pie and I ate the pie. The pie was from my mom at
mm,
the time. So that really messed my system up
mm-hmm,
badly. And
mm-hmm.
the doctors they failed. They say we can't do nothing for your son no more. We don't know what to do. We did all we could, and that
Right,
was
right.
it. So my mom, she was very known um in South Carolina, all over South Carolina. So I don't know how she found this lady, but I guess she was calling around. Um, I guess
She was finding something for her son to get well, okay?
yeah, yeah. So we went to Lanes, South Carolina, because I remember this yesterday. Because Lanes, to get to Lanes, is a straight road for like uh 45 minutes straight.
Mhm.
It's a straight road. So we went
Mhm.
to this lady house. I don't know what she did. The only thing I remembered is um when everything was over, almost over, she told me to drink something, and this stuff was disgusting. I mean, it was so bad, and I never tasted anything like that since that day.
Mhm.
And all I know, when I left there that day, probably 3 days, I started to feel better, and probably another 2 weeks, I was cleared of everything.
Right, right. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and then I think I saw the doctor. I saw the doctor. See, the doctor thought I was going to die. Again, they kind
Mhm.
of pretty much wrote me off, right? I saw the doctor when I was about 25, and he looked at me like I was a ghost, and
Mm.
he didn't even make it to 60. you know,
Mm-mm-mm.
so I've met I mean, I came across healers and over the years or whatever, and a lot of people are skeptic or whatever, which
Right.
is kind of understandable, but I know better.
Mhm.
So I'm not so I'm not gonna say anything negative because based on my experience,
Yes.
some of this stuff works.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah. So
You just
so
have to find the right people, and your mom found the right person.
yeah, exactly.
You know, there's charlatans out there as
Of
well.
course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. So how did people find you in the beginning? Once you got past your family, or did your family help get the word out? How did that get started?
Well, I mean, I don't have much. My family's circle is pretty small. I mean, my husband, he knew what was going on. He is supportive, and, he's into it as well. And he supports everything that I do. So, and all I have is my mom and my brother and a few cousins. But I mean, I'm still developing, like I told you, and I'm still getting the word out myself. I'm still
Okay.
marketing myself in the in this process right now. But my book helped me out a lot. You know what I mean?
So yeah.
My
So
book,
what's the book about?
um, the book is, well, I have it here. Shameless plug. No.
Yeah.
That's the cover, and the book is really about how my time highlighting some of the toxic relationships that I was in with what I know to be narcissists, because I didn't know at the time that I was an empath. Like, remember when I said I didn't even know that I had abilities? Well, I didn't know anything about narcissists or empaths and stuff like that. I just learned about that during my spiritual awakening. Like, I didn't know anything about that. So, in retrospect, I realized that my experiences could probably help others, because I was hearing there was a common thread out there in the spiritual community about empaths and, being in a relationship with being in toxic relationships. And I was like, I experienced a lot of that, and I have it written down in journals. And this is book worthy, I felt like. So I decided to to put it out there, to write a book about specific relationships that I was in where I wasn't really honoring myself, and really wasn't, my self esteem was low. I didn't really have any self worth. And it was all about just being in a relationship and not
Mm.
really honoring myself. And so it took a few relationships for me to learn that lesson. And that's why I titled it You Love, You Learn, because I feel like everybody gets their lessons, their soul lessons, because we're all here on earth school to learn, right?
Yep.
So, and I feel like everybody gets their lessons out through relationships, whether it be romantic, with your parents, with your family members, co-workers, friends, all of these soul lessons, all of these things that we are here to learn, manifest through relationships. And I know a major part of my soul lessons was learning self-worth through
Mm.
romantic relationships. Yeah, so that's why I titled it You Love, You Learn, because every relationship I learned something and learned about red flags, you know, and stuff like that. So,
So how? So your experiences basically inspired you to write the book.
yes, yes, definitely. Um, yeah, and it was pretty therapeutic too. I didn't write about every single toxic
No,
relationship
no,
I
no,
was in,
no. That's too cool.
but I highlighted the key ones that really, you know, stuck with me because we tend to carry baggage from one relationship to another, right? So I realized that even though I'm happily married, I still had some. I was still holding on to some bags from the past.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes,
Yeah, I was definitely a little bag lady.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to write the book?
It took about a year. I dug up my old journals. I went and yeah, dug them up, and it took about a year. It was during the pandemic.
Yeah, you're having
Yeah,
a good time, boy.
yes, a lot of good.
Telling you,
Listen, a
man.
lot of good things came out of it. I know that I'm
Yeah,
sorry. A lot of people died, and I'm very sorry.
yeah.
But
There's
there,
always
there's a flip side to
yeah,
this as well. A lot of people were able to do their thing and start their businesses, write their books, start their podcasts, whatever it was, And I think that was part of the experience as well too from the pandemic. Is just being able to do you.
yeah, man. This is the best time to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, whatever you thought, whatever you held off or always thought about doing, this is the best time, man.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know.
otherwise, I don't think I would have ever done it because I was working from home. You know, I was able to juggle that. My kids were remote schooling too, so it was a lot. So I was able to juggle it. I got it done within a year, and it's actually it came out. I dropped it 11 months ago, like February 28th, the last day of February last year. Yeah,
Mm.
2021.
How did people respond to it? Is
Um,
it
People have responded to it. It's been a little slow, I'm not gonna lie, but promoting a book is literally a second job, a third job, a fourth job.
Oh yeah.
And you gotta stay on it like white on rice. And I'm not gonna lie, I've slacked off in terms of promoting my book. I really tried, but I mean, I would love to reach more readers beyond my friends and my family who bought the book to
That's
support me.
good. My friends and family, none of them bought it. None
Well,
of my books, no.
friends, I should say my friends, friends of mine, friends of my husband, and people, I find that people who you meet on the internet, like our interaction, support you more than your family does.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
know. And I'm like, I can't wrap my head around that, but it is so true. I've very much experienced that.
Yeah, I had some of my friends that now they'll tell other people to buy it,
Mm-hmm.
but they won't.
Right? Right?
I
Right.
don't know why that is.
Mm-mm. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it's people responded well initially, but I could benefit from some more promotion. Definitely.
yeah, you gotta keep promoting it. I'm guilty of that as well. I sometimes, I'll slack off,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be like, because I'm like, sometimes if I'm like, for example, if I'm doing a live, I'm not really thinking about the books. I'm thinking
Yes.
about the topic that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm guilty for that as well.
Yeah. For sure. Me too.
So how long have you had the podcast?
I started the podcast in 18, about, so it's going on 4 years. 2018 in August or September, one of those months I started it. So it's three, going on 4 years.
Oh, so you started before the pandemic. I started
Mhm.
in the pandemic. I started last year.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
started my podcast before, when I had lost my job, because there's but so many resumes you can put out. And
yeah,
I was like, I gotta do so. I gotta find something to do.
exactly. Because at the time, I had the YouTube channel for
Hmm.
8 years now, but at the time, somebody else gave me the idea to do a podcast,
Hmm.
and I said, I thought about it. I said, you know what? Why not? And it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, and it's fun, right?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
good
and
thing.
I started a podcast in the past, but it was based on sales.
Hmm.
But in the mistake I made with that took off too. But the mistake I made is I quit too early because I think at the time I did maybe 40 episodes, and I didn't think I had the views,
Okay.
the reach like I would have, at least that I wanted anyway.
Right.
So I stopped doing episodes, and at the same time, I still had the account. So it sat there for like 6 months, and I didn't touch it. So I logged. Something just told me to log back in to my account,
Hmm.
and it took off.
You see what happens? You have to be patient. You have to give
Yeah,
it time.
yeah. So you
That's
just
I
have,
went through that as well with my podcast. I went like 6 months without uploading anything or doing anything because I was so discouraged. I felt like no one was listening. What's the point?
yeah,
And my husband was like, "Man, if only one person listens, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
exactly.
Don't
You know,
worry about the likes or the
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
do it
And
for
plus,
you."
you just never know. You might drop an episode, and it could take off 2 weeks, a month later. You just never know. You know.
Yes, there's still people. There's one particular episode on my podcast and I did it on Haitian voodoo,
Okay.
that people are still listening. Like, it's the most listened to episode
Exactly.
of my pod, and I'm like,
Never know.
how, you know what I mean?
Yeah. This is why you got to keep going.
Yeah.
Even if
So,
things aren't going the way you would like in the
mhm.
moment, you still got to just keep going. You know.
And then I started bringing on guests. I realized I found the podcasting groups on Facebook and stuff like that. So then it kind of made it more interactive
Yep.
for me, and that makes it more fun.
Yeah. So how do you come up with the topics?
Um, the topics are just based on things that I want to know, or things that I've been researching for myself, my own education, and then I just share it. That's how I've been kind of rolling with it. And I've been kind of allowing myself just to be guided with like aha moments about topics. Like I feel like my angels will give me a topic and I'll ask for, and I've been asking for content and topics. And then, it takes like a week or so, a couple of days, and I'll get some inspiration. I'll get a download. That's
So how
how
do
I've been doing it.
so how do you know who to bring on? Do you bring people on that you want to learn from, or you bring
Oh,
people on
yes.
that's
Yeah, I bring people on that I want to learn from and that I feel like would be that other people would benefit from learning from as well. Yeah, for sure. That, because it's kind of like Martine's musings, it's about what I want to muse about, what I want to discuss. And if it's something that I'm doing research on or I want to learn, then that's how I do it. Like my last episode was about astrology. I'm studying astrology as well. So I brought on a professional astrologer who she read my chart. She talked about things beyond your sun sign and how to read your chart, the certain things that you want to know about yourself on your chart, where to locate that information. It was really informative and for me, and so I felt like there's definitely people out there who would want to know. Everybody's into astrology, right?
yeah. Well, I don't
Not
know.
really.
I don't know. So what? So do you? What type of do you get couples or singles that reach out to you and I mean people in relationships? I guess what type? What I guess what's the I guess ideal uh person that reach out to you? Like
um,
you know,
Clients, you mean,
yeah,
for readings?
yeah.
There are. I haven't had a couple, honestly, but people do come and want to discuss their love life and want me to pull cards on their love life. And I actually have a regular client who comes to me about every month.
Wow,
Yeah, for readings. I have a couple of people who get regular readings from me.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, I'm grateful for them to trust me with, giving them guidance like that. And I guess I'm giving them I'm definitely giving them accurate guidance because they keep coming back. So
yeah.
that tells me, that confirms for me that I'm doing, everything that's coming through for them is, correct.
I agree 100%.
Hmm.
So, so if people wanted to reach out to you, where would they go?
My website, martinefelton.com. There you can find my book, both my books. I have a fiction book that I wrote in 2013, and then this memoir, teaching memoir, You Love, You Learn, that I wrote in 2021. You can find my sweatshirts with my book cover on there. And you can also book me for tarot readings, energy healings, and I do sound healings as well.
There you have it. Like, share this episode. All links will be found in the show notes. Tell me what you think below. Until next time, we out.